And that is us live. Thank you everyone who's watching tonight. You are watching MMA UK, and tonight we've got a special guest, Abbotsbury's own Jack Tank Shaw. Jack, how's it going, buddy? How's things?
The one and only. I'm all right,
The one
Will.
and
Yeah,
only.
I'm all good. I'm all good.
Yeah, brilliant, buddy. It's good to have you, Jack. And it seems like the more interviews we do now, it gets a little bit more high profile every time. The fights get bigger, the numbers get bigger. We're kind of keeping on rolling with this. How have you been since the win over at Yas Island?
Yeah, been good. Just obviously been just been enjoying a little bit of downtime, I suppose. I'm still in the gym, obviously, but enjoying the training without like the pressure of preparing for a fight in a sense, But I'm back, sort of training quite intensely now. Just waiting on a bit of news or whatever for a date. I mean, nothing's set in stone yet, but yeah, it's just been nice to enjoy the victory a little bit and obviously improve in certain areas and just try some new things out, without the pressure of the fight looming over me.
Yeah. And what I should say before we really get into it, Jack, there's actually supposed to be three of us on here tonight. Obviously myself, you, and evil Oban Elliott. Oban, he's done a bit of a superstar on us.
Yeah,
He's running a bit late, so he's going to join in. But
let me tell you, right? At 3-0, I was never late for interviews, so it's bad etiquette on his part. We have to have a word with him now when he comes in. But he is a future superstar, so maybe he can get away with it.
We'll let him slide this time, I think, Can't. We'll let him slide. But so yeah, I want to get into it. Obviously, you had a massive performance last time. Aaron Phillips, a guy, you were 12-0, he was 12-3, so the same amount of wins going in. What do you think, looking back at that performance now? I know you said straight after in the interview you weren't 100% happy with it, even though it was a no-hitter, as Paul Felder said. What's your thoughts looking back on that fight now and the performance you put in with the second round finish?
Yeah, I watched it back a couple of times. I watched it back straight after, and I've watched it back once or twice since I've been home. But yeah, it went really well. I mean, I think when you're in there, you sort of overanalyze yourself a little bit. What I may feel was a little bit sloppy, and it didn't necessarily look so sloppy on camera when watching it back. But there were certain things that I could have done a little bit better, like the first couple of exchanges. But I mean, overall, I was happy. It went to plan. Executed the game plan. I mean, I know we didn't really have a set game plan because it was like a short notice fight with the opponent change, but just did what my coaches wanted from me. Went out there and fought my game and didn't take no damage. Didn't put myself in any bad positions, So yeah, it went really well. The coaches are happy, and if they're happy, then also I'm happy that if they think I've had a good night at the office, and I'm more than happy to take their word for it,
Yeah, definitely. I think what we've said sort of consistently with you throughout your career is that you've constantly stepped up, a better fighter every time, a better record every time. With that being said, did you feel like the finish comes sooner than you expected in this fight? Because it was a good first round, obviously you dominated, but then second round he seemed to sort of crumble quite quickly when you got on top of him. Was it a bit sooner than you thought, that finish?
No. To be honest, I think if I can get that sort of position early in a round against anyone in the division, I'm in with a shout to finish him. I hit full guard or half guard. I think it was sort of within the first minute of the round. So I have 4 minutes to work and put the pressure on him. And I mean, you've seen it in all my fights when I hit that top position early on in the round. Very rarely do they escape. To see the round out. If they do see the round out, they've taken a hell of a lot of punishment and they don't come into the next round the same fighter. So. I mean, once I sort of passed through to half guard, jumped into the mount and took the back, I just knew it was a matter of time then. I think I had broke him down a little bit in the first round with the sort of grind. I think he was expecting to defend my takedown a little bit easier and keep the distance. I know that was the game plan. Well, I say game plan, but it wasn't a game plan. It was just get out there and get in his face.
Yeah.
And where I did that consistently in the first round, when I got hold of him, I made sure to make him carry my weight. I damaged him with the knees and the elbows and the punches. And obviously when I got on top then, as Carl Parker would say, I'm the best in the world when it comes to mixing in those elbows with my grappling. And, if I can get my shots going like I did, eventually they'll either give me the mount or the back, which usually results in a finish. But I wouldn't say it come quicker than what I expected. It was just, I knew sort of once I hit that position, I was in with a shout to get him out there because I'm just very good at breaking people down from that position. But he was a tough kid, Even in the first round, he didn't want to give in. He did his very best to not give me the positions I wanted. He took some big knees. He took a couple of big mid kicks. And he hung in there. He's a lifelong martial artist. I haven't chatted to him a little bit, online and stuff. So all credit to him. Hopefully his next fight in the UFC, he gets a bit more of a favourable match. And I'd like to see him do well, because he seems a good guy, like a family man, got his own gym and everything. So he's a good guy, Aaron, and not a guy with an ego afterwards. He was very happy just to get the chance to fight again in the UFC. So I wish him all the best.
Yeah, no, fair play. Yeah, I mean, we spoke to Brett, and obviously he got a win out there as well. It's same team now. What was the whole experience like being out there with your father, and obviously with Parker and Brett? What was it like going out and experiencing Fight Island? Did you get to experience much of it? Because I know obviously a lot of it was sort of sitting in isolation. A lot of it was time training inside. Did you get to see anything out there, or was it literally just all business this time round?
Yeah, it was a little bit. I think we had a day where we went for a little walk. We went onto the beach. Had a jump in the sea, but to be honest, other than that, it was a lot of just strictly business. Just training. We was obviously sleeping through the day, training through the night. So there's only so much you can do in the pitch black. But that's just how we like to do it. Fight week, it's all about. I'm not one of them. I don't like to be out there, and living the dream as such, and doing this sound. I'm out there and I'm all business. And Brett is very similar to me, and it was good to have a teammate and obviously him and his brother there with me, to go through the fight. I know he fought a couple of days later, but we pretty much experienced the fight week together. Yeah. So it just made the experience a little bit more enjoyable. Gutted I didn't get to stay and watch his fight live, but I would have only been able to watch it from the hotel room anyway. So, it was a great weekend for us, and great month for the coaches as well. Two out of 2 wins on Fight Island for my old man and Carl, and obviously all our other coaches as well. Is a special one. So if they don't go back to Fight Island, that'll always set in stone. If they do go back,
for history books. One for the history books, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. That's what motivated me, to be honest. It was a little bit more of a short notice fight night than I usually like. I like a long camp, but it was motivating, and it was sort of, we may never go back, or if we do go back to Fight Island, it's only the first time on Fight Island once. Yeah. So it was motivating for me to think, right, let's be one of those few guys who got to go out there and have the opportunity to say, in the mix of a global pandemic, I still managed to travel to Abu Dhabi and put it on the line, but also did it in an island that was strictly there for the UFC. So it's possibly a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's not gonna. I don't imagine it's gonna be like that forever. When the crowds come back. So it's definitely one to tell the kids and the grandkids, maybe if we have any in the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. One thing I want to touch on, something you said there about Brett, is it sort of pushing you to a next level now? I know obviously you've always come from a good camp, you've got great coaches and great teammates, but having Brett, who's in the UFC, in the same weight class, is that something that's pushing you on sort of next level now, do you think?
Yeah, completely different. It's a completely different level of preparation. It's like having in my opinion, Brett could beat anyone in the top 10. So it's like having a top 10 UFC fight now in your weight, pushing you to the limit in the gym every day. The rounds are very 50-50, but it's sort of, it helps keep me humble as well. He's taking me down, he's catching me in bad positions. He's, some rounds he puts me on the fence and I can't move unless he decides he wants to let me move. So it's perfect training for me, and I like to think that I'm helping him out as well a little bit with the spar. I like to think the level of sparring he's having with me now is obviously a step up as well for him. So I think you'll just see in the next couple of years, we're just going to bounce off each other and pull each other along. And not just me and Brett. Look at the boys coming through at amateur. Your likes of you've got Josh Reed, Chris Edwards, who everybody know, and then we've got guys like Jordan Peak, Scotty Pedersen, who's training with us now, Oban, obviously, just despite being a little bit bigger than me and Brett. And then, we got a cracking team of youngsters here now with Levi and Kenzie and Elliott and all the boys coming up through, as well as mixed in with all the elite level grapplers we got as well. So, me and Brett are the two that probably get the most eyes on us, along with Marshall being in the UFC. But the team there now is massive, and we got good strength and depth. And give us maybe 3, 4, 5 years, there'll be a lot more than 3 MMA boys in the UFC. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, let's hope so. It definitely seems to be the way it's trending. We've got Oban Elliott joining us now as well. Oban, thanks for joining us.
I didn't know if you could see me or not, boys. How are we doing? Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
late.
Oh, one thing I might have to ask you is, do you have a pair of headphones around? Because sometimes it messes up the audio. But we'll risk this one then, right?
Look at him, superstar. Like he's late and he hasn't got his
I've
headphones.
blocked everyone out of the room. They ain't coming in. Don't worry.
There you go. So why are you late? Oh, you got Jack, like you said, 3-0. This guy, he was never late, never tardy. What's going on?
Yeah, I had to take care of a job. Can't say too much.
There we go.
Yeah, never trust the gangster and all that.
we've got a question actually coming in, and that is from Peter Knox, and he's asking, Oban, what does Jack need to do to become a gangster? I mean, I don't know if there's much more he can do at the minute, is there?
He's already a gangster. He's just not in my gang in particular, but he's already he's he's in of course we're on the same team, but like he's got his own gangster circle. He doesn't need me to tell him he's a gangster. He knows the crack, doesn't he?
It's the Larry Charter. He's the Charter. Look, and I'm the Larry Charter.
Yeah, he's the Larry Charter. He's got it covered.
There we go.
Yeah.
Jack, one thing I did want to ask before we sort of speak to Oban a little bit was, what was it like fighting with no crowd, number one? And what was it like fighting at like 4 a.m. as well? Because it was kind of, I spoke to Shaky on fight week, and he was saying like you're sort of sleeping all day, up all night, preparing for the fights. What was that like for you guys?
The sleeping pattern was a weird one to start, but to be honest, we nailed it. We had it nailed down. We was going to bed, I think it was around like 5-6 a.m. We was trying to get up then around like, I think it was about 3 p.m. Obviously fight day, we tried to sleep in a little bit later because we had to train a little. Well, we've done our last session, it was about 1 a.m. So where we was fighting at 3 a.m. out there, we was trying to sleep in a little bit later fight day. But we nailed the sleeping pattern down early. It was just a little bit of like, just a little bit of a mess about really.
Can I come in with Do you know what I'm gonna say, Tank?
I don't know.
Remember when I FaceTimed you before when you were in London?
Yeah.
Come on,
let him tell a story.
Yeah, come on, Oban. So let us know the story, buddy.
I FaceTimed him that I checking on him because he was doing the quarantine in London. I said, how you doing, Tank, and all that, blah blah blah. And I said, what time you fight then? And he said, it'd be like 4 a.m. fucking your time, whatever. And he went, what time's it over there? And he was in London at the time, at the same time. He had a face like that.
The weight cut done me, didn't it?
Yeah, what time's it over there now? And
what time is it? Yeah, what's the time you fucking still in London?
I went on a weight cut.
It's a different country, Tank, it counts.
I went on a weight cut and I went, hang on, let me check. And I'm, hang on, it's the same time as you.
Yeah. But there you go. Wake up problems.
It was tough to start, but I mean, we nailed it after like 2-3 days. The only downside was you couldn't do a lot, obviously, because you're not getting up till like 3 p.m. By the time you train and have your food and recover a little bit, there's not a lot of time, daylight left for you to do anything. But we nailed it down. Obviously, Shake sort of put a plan in for me and Brett and the boys, and it worked spot on. And as far as like the empty arena went, it was weird a little bit on like the walkout and the intros. It felt like walking to the cage for a sparring session. But once we started fighting, it just felt normal. And it was a strange one because whenever I'm fighting, I always hear my old man, and he's always the voice, even with all the crowd and all the noise, like even in like Cardiff and Copenhagen, and I can always hear him. And I expected him to be even louder this time. But I don't know if it was just because the fight was going sort of planned, but I felt like he said less for this fight with no one in the crowd, when it would have been easier to hear him than he does when the arena's packed out. So that was the only weird thing, really. But other than that, the fight, it just felt like a normal fight. It's not something I'd be against doing again. Obviously, I think if we want to fight in the next couple of months, then there's going to be no crowd again. So it's very similar to the IMAF, to be honest. Just a little bit, obviously, the bigger production and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you. We had a question coming in, Katie Hunter. So big shout out to Katie. She's asking, what did you think of Vera versus O'Malley on the weekend? Obviously, some guys that you've got some interests in. I know sort of he's mentioned you before, O'Malley, I think, in one of her podcasts. A big name in the sport. Obviously, he took a loss there to Cheeto. What do you think of that fight, and what do you think of both of those guys? Yeah,
it was a shame to see us obviously go the way it did, but you can't take nothing away from Cheeto Vera. I mean, I've watched the fight back and I watched a couple of videos online, and I do think the kick to the knee was what caused O'Malley to roll his ankle in the end. I think that the kick damaged his leg. And I think that's what sort of, he was a little bit uneasy on it, and he've obviously gone for that switch step and rolled his ankle where his balance wasn't right. And I think it was a good stoppage, to be honest. Number one, I mean, he got it with some big heavy shots, and I think the ref could see with the injury, he was never going to really come back and win the fight. It's not fair to send him back. I think they would have stopped it in between the rounds anyway. So
yeah,
good win for Cheeto. Shame that people are not giving him the credit he deserves, because he's a very good boy, and that's a big win for him. Despite him probably being the higher caliber of the two, really, on paper, people seem to write them off because they were all aboard the O'Malley train. But never count the underdog out. That's that's a beauty.
Did you boys? Oh God, it was a Bellator fight. Was it Brent Primus versus Michael Chandler?
Yeah.
The exact same thing happened. Everyone said it was a Chandler just hurt his ankle, but it is that you hit. I think it like disables a nerve in your leg, doesn't it, when you get it there in that part of your leg or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, it's the same sort of thing with the elbow. I mean, if we ever get kicked, there's a certain point in your elbow where you get kicked in the elbow, you feel your arm sort of go dead and numb, and I think the same is this. It's the same sort of nerve in your knee. It
disables the ankle, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think you see it happen to Cejudo, didn't you? Cejudo did it against Mighty Mouse, caught him with a kick, and you could see it sort of limped his ankle
to get back.
Yeah. So I think that was what it was, and Vera just kept the pressure on him, didn't let him off the up.
What I was going to say as well, with Cheeto Vera, it's not the first time we've seen him do that, because I can remember going up to London for Brad Pickett's last fight a few years ago, and everyone's saying Brad was going to win, and then he pulls it out of the bag there. So he's done it before. I think he's good at being an underdog. He's got that little bit of a chip on his shoulder, Cheeto Vera, as well.
He fought Brad Pickett in his last fight.
Yeah, sparked him with the egg kick.
That was in London. Brad was winning the fight, and
Cheeto
Vera just toughed it out, and then got a knockout, completely stunned the crowd, completely kind of rained on everyone's parade. So Cheeto is good at that. He's good at spoiling the party, I will say that, and he's got that bit of a chip on his shoulder, which I quite like. As for the stoppage as well, I'm with you on that one, Jack. I thought it was a good one. I thought, like, with him being in guard as well, if he'd started, usually when you're in that position, you can sort of grab hold and stop him throwing the punches, but he didn't seem to be able to stop the punches coming, even though he took one or two.
He didn't protest the stoppage either, which makes me think, obviously, he was in a bad way with his leg, or maybe the shots he felt the shots a little bit. I mean, it was some big elbows that come over the top, so he didn't protest the stoppage, which is usually a sign that he was done anyway.
Yeah, is that either of those a fight that interests you, Jack? Cheeto Vera or Sean O'Malley? Both big names now. Yeah,
both of them. Would be a fight that I like to get down the line. Obviously, I don't know what the crack is with O'Malley now as far as injuries and stuff like that go. I imagine if he's injury free, the UFC will want to try and pop him straight back in and look to get him ranked again, because they sort of, he's got that name about him and that personality, I think, when they're trying to build him into a pay-per-view star. But Cheeto will probably move up the rankings a little bit now, so I think 2-3 fights, so maybe even less. It's a fight that I can jump straight into. And as if any of them ranked boys, if I stay fit and healthy and there's a pull-out, I think the UFC know what I'm about and know that I'm capable of jumping in and putting on a show with any of those. So fingers crossed now we get another win before the year's out, and this time next year I can start putting my name in the hat for those type of fights.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, like I said, you're rising in the rankings of the UFC, but I think with you, Jack, as well, you're starting to rise a little bit now. I think for a while you sort of went under the radar a bit. You were big in the UK and big in Wales, a huge amount of support, but now you're sort of seeing that I think you did a podcast the other day, was it King and the Sting with Brendan Schaub?
Yeah.
You're starting to get a little bit more recognition now amongst sort of popular media as well. Is that nice for you to kind of see it sort of paying off a little bit? Because I do feel like you did, outside of Wales and the UK, you did go a little bit unnoticed for a while when you were on that streak. I don't know if you sort of felt the same.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're in the UFC, it's like, as good as Cage Warriors are and what they do with their promo and stuff, you join the UFC and there's probably 100 times the amount of viewers and stuff like that on it. So naturally you're gonna gain that little bit more traction. And in all fairness to like the UK media and stuff like that, they're constantly pushing my name. So it's only a matter of time, I think, before they start to take notice. I want to shout out to Theo Vaughn for that one. He's been following me ever since I was due to fight Ekindeo. I think I tagged him in something on my Instagram story, and he followed me, and he's probably been messaging me on and off for 2 years. So after the fight, obviously, he was keen to get me on, and thankfully it happened. I think I had like 400,000 views or something like that. So
it's not bad, is it?
That's on him doing that one. So
They nearly get as many views as MMA UK, Jack.
Yeah, I don't think all my other interviews combined have got 400,000 views.
No.
So I got to shout them out for that one.
Yeah, no, fair play. Big shout out to those guys. Great podcast as well. So yeah, great to be on that one. Just trying to see if we got any more questions. So I know, Tank, you're actually doing another podcast this evening, Tank. It's a busy lifestyle for you now, right?
Yeah, I know. It's in podcast after podcast all the time. But I try and space them out. But Superstar pushed us back, didn't he? So we're gonna end up clashing. But I got to like 10:15 to Lou anyway, so we're good for now.
There we go. So what we'll do is we'll check a few at Oban, and Jack, I'll try and bring you in as well, because obviously, like I said, you're training together now. You guys got an excellent gym down there. Oban, Elliott, you've been quite vocal in sort of looking for a fight over the last couple of months. Well, the last 2 years really.
Yeah.
Not shy about what you want. You finally got the matchup now, Michael Figlak. What's your thoughts on this next opponent, buddy? Or as you said, the next victim. I think I saw you in one of your social media posts.
I couldn't give a bollocks for him at all. I mean, I'm just happy I got an opponent. I got something they can pull something out of that, and I beat an undefeated guy or whatever he is. Yeah, it didn't. In the end, it kind of got a bit. It got a bit stale. I was hoping for a guy like that somebody already knew in like the MMA circles or whatever. But I think it got to a point where the boys I was like asking for, I'd have to explain to people who they were, and then it kind of defeated the object of it all, if you know what I mean. So to be honest, it didn't really matter. It didn't matter who it is anyway. But in actual fact, this guy called me out when he got his mate to call me out. So yeah, it's another fight.
So yeah, for people who don't know, Oban's 3-0 at the moment. He's going to be fighting on the trilogy. It's 3 Cage Warriors cards in 3 nights, starting on the 26th of December, I believe, or the 24th.
It's the 24th. I'm the first
24th.
fight, the 24th of September. Then it's the 25th and the 26th. I'm on the Thursday.
So we've got 3 cards on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Obviously, we've got Oban going to be fighting. We've got Aaron Khalid going to be fighting in the welterweight division, and obviously as well we've got Mason Jones, who's going to be competing for his second belt in Cage Warriors as well, which is another big deal for Wales. So it's going to be a big lot of cards. Really ambitious project for Cage Warriors, especially given this time. I mean, it's kind of, like we said about Jack, he's built his way up through all these different cards with Cage Warriors. How does it feel for you now, Oban, to be kind of on that similar path, coming up, fighting on these big domestic cards?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'm working hard to get in these positions, and I'm honoured to have the opportunity. But I've earned the opportunity. I don't feel out of place at all. I'm not starstruck by anyone there. I don't think anybody. I don't look at anyone in the locker room and think, oh, so and so's over there. I think about that when I walk in my gym. I don't look up to anybody on the Cage Warriors roster or the UFC roster, really. I just look up, to the boys in my gym, and I take fight after fight on the show I'm signed to.
Yeah, what do you think of Michael as well? He's 2-0, you're 3-0, so quite evenly matched in terms of records. What's your take on him as an opponent?
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel, Oban.
With him, he's just an MMA. He just, he's been fighting for, it feels like 100 years. He's been on the scene. He fights. He might win a fight, lose a fight, win a fight, lose a fight, and if he loses a fight, he disappears for 2 years. He lost to Tank, disappeared for 2 years or whatever it was. And I was like, 16 when that fight happened, or how old was I? 17 when that fight happened. So yeah, it just goes to show how long he's been knocking about. He hasn't really achieved anything since he fought Tank. Well, look where Tank is and look where he is. He's sort of sat in the wings waiting for. I suppose he's trying to steal my spotlight, and if I was in his position, I'd try and do the same thing. But he sat back for the last few years, achieved nothing, beat a couple of bums, and thinks he can, beat me. And we'll see what happens on the night.
Yeah. How much confidence you get from training with a man to your left. I saw a post you put up on Insta the other day of Jack on top of you, grinding you down a little bit. How much does that help, sort of being in those positions with the likes of Jack and Brent?
Because like, especially when I'm not trying to make weight for a fight, I'm a lot bigger and Tank's a lot smaller, so it's different. But especially in these scenarios now where I'm cutting, but Tank's is his natural weight, we're not even that far away in weight, so I get a lot out of it. The confidence I get in that sense when I'm training with boys like Tank is just there's no way. I think Tank's one of the best in the world in that position. You know, especially on the ground when he's on top, he's one of the best in the world. And you know, if I can deal with what Tank brings in the gym, I can deal with, you know, what anybody brings really, in especially them positions where people may think they might beat me and, you know, they take me down or whatever, you know.
Right, one of your teammates below now, Josh Crazios Reed, big shout out Josh Reed. He's asking, will the gangster stand and bang for this fight? That's what gangsters do.
Gangsters win.
There we go. Good. That's a good answer. You can't argue with that one there.
No.
Can't argue with that one. But yeah, so what's your situation at the moment, Ob? I know obviously you've joined Show Martial Arts full time now.
Yeah.
You've moved back down. You were up in Bristol living. You're
Yeah.
training full time in Wales. You're living in Wales. What's your situation now? You're back over Merthyr living. Is it a little bit more settled down for you at the moment?
Yeah, I'll settle down. Yeah, I'm looking at a job in a school for September. But yeah, just more focusing on my training now. It's annoying this virus kind of held me back. I was hoping to have 4 fights this year, but everyone got held up. And yeah, you know, I'm just getting my head down. Just can't wait to get this first fight off. There's nothing glamorous about this fight for me. This is just getting in that cage. I ain't going to be a soul in attendance, and there's nothing glamorous about it. I'm going to go in there and kill him. There's absolutely nothing. There's nothing else I think of. There's nothing else I want to. You know, everyone gets a bit excited about, you know, the crowd or the fighting on cage wise, whatever. I don't care if we were fighting in the pub or in the back garden. I'd have done the same thing there as I will do in the cage with him. So it's one of them.
Yeah. Honest as ever. I think that's why we all love Oban Elliott. The honest answers there. We've got Michael Jones, shout out Truth, asking Oban, after training in a few different gyms when in university and living away, what do you find the difference in training at Show Martial Arts compared to previous gyms?
It's just, I think with us lot, with Shaw, I say Shaw Mixed Martial Arts, with us lot, it's just everybody's there, just there to help each other. I suppose everyone's like that at all gyms, but I mean, I think that's a difficult question to answer, because I think some boys, if you want to be the best fighter in the world, if you've got aspirations of being a world champion, and you want to be in an environment where you're constantly being pushed and you're willing to help others on, and you're in you got senior members of the team bringing you on. If you want to be serious about it and you don't want to, be in a comfortable gym environment where you get easy rounds, you'll be at my gym, at our gym, Shaw Mixed Martial Arts. You won't go anywhere else. But I've been in other gyms where it just didn't work. It weren't for me, and I think it's a difficult question. But I think all I want to do is be a world champion. I want to be the best fighter in the world. So that's why Shaw MMA works for me, because I've got my coaches Carl, Shaky, and obviously got Gary Lockett as well. And it's like they're not just there to take your money and teach you a couple of techniques and send you on the way. They're there for you 24/7, 365. And yeah, that's a tough question to answer. I just, I might be biased. I might not. I don't think I'm biased. I think, with years to come, with what we're all going to achieve, they'll look at it as the best gym in the world before long.
I think, Jack can probably speak a bit more about this, because, you've got the likes of Shaky there. Shaky's he's been in the game since the very beginning, hasn't he? Starting it off, going around, learning all different techniques, really with this vision of getting fighters to the UFC. I mean, how much is sort of that vision, drove you boys to getting this sort of a gym? And even yourself, Jack, you've been out to Albuquerque, you've sort of brought back the knowledge. Do you think that sort of is what's driving that atmosphere down at Show Martial Arts at the moment?
Yeah, well, what people don't always remember about my old man is obviously because social media and stuff like that wasn't about like 10, 15 years ago when he was fighting, but he's seen it been there, seen it, done it. He's had 30 odd amateur fights. He's had semi-pro fights, pro fights. Probably had friggin' 500 to 1,000 grappling and kumite matches.
Yeah.
He's been there and done it on. There's not one thing. There's nothing that me and Oban or Marshman or Brett can say. But you never cut weight and you never fought a pro. So how would you know? He's done it all. Same with Carl. Carl hasn't got the same level of fight experience, but Carl has been coaching pro MMA fighters for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Coached against the likes of Michael Bisping like 20 years ago, but people don't always see that because, it was a different time back then. And that's what people don't understand, I don't think. The coaches, we've got specialists in every area, but they've done it themselves, and I've trained, like you said, at gyms across the country. I've been out to Jackson Wink, which is arguably, the best gym on the planet. And there's nothing they've got there that we haven't got. Maybe they've got a little bit more quantity than what we've got. They've got a couple more coaches, but that's just because they've got probably, twice the amount of MMA fighters. And sometimes, you see people like Mark D. Casey talk about it when you went to American Top Team. When you go to these big gyms, a lot of the time you were just a lamb to the slaughter for the top boys. They don't want to help bring you along. They want to chuck you in because you're a good sparring partner for the top names. Whereas at our gym, every fighter who fights out of our gym, whether it's a 1-0 amateur or it's always a 3-0 pro like Oban, or it's me, Brett, or Marshman who's fighting on the world stage, you'll have the same amount of attention, the same amount of coach time, and the coaches want you. A win to an amateur win is just as important to Carl, him, and my old man as it is for me to win in the UFC. And like Oban said, I generally think in years to come we'll be looked at as one of the top 10 gyms in the world, despite being in such a small area. Our track record speaks for itself. Like, we've got my old man has gone me and Marshman from scratch, from kids who didn't know what they were doing, didn't know how to throw a punch, into the UFC. And obviously Brett is training us now, and I'm sure he'll agree with the differences made to his game. And he's done that with no sort of backing, until recently. We're very fortunate that we've got these really good guys like Batch and Jack Evans that help us out. But years ago, there was never, we never had no grants, no funding, nothing like that. He did it all off his own back. We started in a cellar in a nightclub, a gym probably smaller than this room, and he was running the classes on his own 5 nights a week. Now you look at it. He's got a gym himself, but he's got Carl there who's bringing world-class knowledge. Him who's, how many other gyms in the UK or Wales have got a guy with 120 Thai fights out in Thailand and fought in the Lumpini Stadium, So we've got it all now. We've got everything we need. And, people can say what they want about us, and the naysayers can say, the boys need to go elsewhere as far as bigger gyms are concerned. But what they can never do is argue with the results. You look on paper at the results we produce, and they can't be argued with. And at the end of the day, when everyone's retired and all is said and done, the only thing that stands is the results and what, the records and the how many fights we had at the top level and how many amateur champions we had and IMAF champions and Cage Warriors champions. So, at the end of the day, I like Oban said, I think within a couple of years' time, you'll see people from all over the world traveling to train with us now because of how the facility looks as well. To have something like that in Wales or even in the UK is incredible for us as fighters, but obviously the hard work for the coaches has paid off as well. Oh, fucking hell, I pulled my phone over. The hard work for the coaches has paid off as well. So it's just a pleasure to be a part of it and, contribute to it a little bit.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same thing with you there. It's a great gym. Like, I've been there a couple of times now, and it really is a world-class facility for anyone. So I can well see people come in and join in. We've actually just got a good question coming in for you, Jack. I know you've got to go soon, so I want to get this one in. It's from Dean Callow, and he's saying, is it true that CM Punk is coming around for tea on Sunday? Now, for people who don't know this, Jack Shaw sadly didn't make the UFC game.
Didn't make the cut.
Crime against the country, I think, but it is what it is now. And CM Punk did, and obviously you tweeted that out, Jack, and he actually replied to you. So yeah, have you spoke to him in the DMs or anything like that, Jack, or was it all just what we saw?
Just on the comment, like them Yanks, they don't know how to take the banter, man. They think they're serious about everything. They just a different breed. They're a little bit dull, I think. They don't get sarcasm. So obviously, on the comments, CM Punk obviously got the sarcasm, didn't he? So he dropped me a little comment, and he was pretty sound. So he's not quite coming around for tea on Sunday, but I don't think I upset him as much as I upset the lifelong wrestling fans. The 25-year-olds with their Triple H posters on the wall. I think I upset them a little bit more than the man himself. But they defended his honor on Twitter with their fake names and pictures. So that's the main, who's Jack Show at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's the main thing. Stand by him. And to be fair, CM Punk, he responded by saying he'd trade his place in the game for one of your wins, which I think is a fair enough comment, really, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah, he would as well, wouldn't he? Of course he would.
So yeah, there's that little bit of CM Punk controversy, and also Jack, I don't know if you were aware of this because you were in Fight Week as well, but there was a little bit of controversy with you before you fought, which was obviously there was a shout out from the now champion of your division who said that you were ducking his coach in Fight Week. What was that all about?
Shit and all.
What was that?
Peter Yan. From what I've been told, he doesn't even run his Twitter. Apparently, what I've been told is his manager runs his Twitter. And from what I can make of it, they were just trying to get their boy in the UFC. They're saying that they said that me and Nathaniel would turn down his coach who's out in Abu Dhabi, but Graham Boylan will attest to this. We got a message at 4:00 on Friday afternoon to say Dos Santos is out. We're working on a replacement. I had a message 11 o'clock Friday night to say Aaron Phillips is in. There was no, is this guy, and this guy. Who do you want to fight? Who would you rather fight? He's out, he's in. So it's the same as it's always been. From fighting as an amateur to fighting on Cage Warriors to fighting in the UFC. They tell you who you fight. They tell me who I'm fighting, and I sign the contract. As simple as that.
Fair play. Is good to get that out of the way, because that actually had that got a little bit of traction on sort of MMA Twitter and throughout the MMA media when you come out and said that.
Any of that bollocks. You just can't believe it.
Twitter is a toxic place. If you believe anything you read on Twitter, you'll believe a lot of false things. I mean,
I think for 1 second, if you think a fully grown man who's been fighting since whatever age he is going to suddenly go, I'm turning a fight down, so I'm not going to fight him, but I'll fight someone else. Come on.
And you want to talk about? I don't even know who he was on about. I won't fight it, but I seen someone tweet the kid who the Russians are on about. He's 9-1, and almost 9 of his wins have been inside Russia. So, how that's an easier fight than
12-3 guy.
A guy who's 12-3, who's been in who's 2 of his 3 losses have been in the UFC. His other losses to a guy who's now in the UFC and who's on a 6-fight win streak before fighting me. How that's an easier fight, I'm not sure. But, like I said, if they want to sign up his coach and he wants to have a little wrestle, I'll happily oblige.
There you go. Jack, I know you've got to shoot off soon, so I'm going to put this last question up for you. And then we're going to let you go, and I'll carry on with Oban for a little bit. But Carlos Hall is asking, he's saying he'd love a Shaw's gym in Caerphilly. Is there any plans to sort of expand? And obviously now you've got this massive centre. Is there any plans to open other gyms across Wales?
But maybe not. Maybe expand worldwide. I don't know about Caerphilly. It's only 15 minutes down the road. You probably he probably jump on a bus or a train. So probably not Caerphilly, but he's more than welcome to come along now in September when we open up to new members. He's more than welcome to come along with him and train. Obviously, I imagine we'll probably expand our facility where it is before we expand anywhere else in the world. But I mean, who knows? I mean, like the gym has been running 13 years, and I think if you ask my old man 13 years ago, would he be running a full-time facility with 3 boys training? They were fighting UFC, he just said no chance. So who's to say what we could be possibly doing in another 10 years? I mean, who's to say there won't be a Show MMA England, Ireland and Scotland, or a Show MMA Vegas, or a Show MMA California? I suppose you never know. So nothing's ever out of the question. But at the minute, I think if we're going to expand, it'll probably be our own gym. I mean, the match before lockdown were absolutely packed. So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I mean, my old man will give you a better idea. You'll probably have to convince him to win the lottery first before you move to gym to Philly.
Here we go. We've got Ian Gary as well saying, ugly boy. And Jack, what's up?
Gaza.
There you go. Big shout out to Ian Gary, and Ian's also asking
Another good fighter.
Oban, what's it like to be second best? I don't know what he means by that. I don't know if that's an in joke.
Second best to who? Probably to Tank in the interview. I'm thinking, I don't know.
There we go. We'll go with that one, We'll go with that one, buddy.
Yeah.
But Jack, I don't know if you want to jump off now. Obviously, I know you've got another interview. You're a man in high demand these days, so we do appreciate your time, buddy. Honestly, and I mean, is there any sort of, before you go, is it thinking that if there's another card now on Fight Island, you'll be looking for that one? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fight in Vegas as well. I know they got Darren Stewart out there, and obviously Corey. So the visa and the travel thing is obviously not an issue now compared to what it was, I don't imagine. So to be honest, I'd probably rather go to Vegas and fight. I'd like to get about, and I've done the Fight Island experience. I'd go back and fight, of course I would. But if I could choose between fighting there in Vegas, I'd love to fight in Vegas as well. So I mean, end of October or November would be ideal for me now. I'm starting to ramp the training up a little bit again and get back fighting fit. Obviously, giving Oban some rounds ready for his fight is no easy feat when you're unfit. So I'm getting my ass in gear.
No, you're fit.
Getting our fight fitness back up.
I think you could fight that lightweight, no problem.
I can fight a lightweight tomorrow. Yeah, but
you could. You could.
I'm gonna just stay fit now, and obviously if something crops up, I've told Graham that I'll be ready around about that time. So I'm sure he's on the case. Oh, Gray, he's a busy man, but he's got what he does. So I'm sure he'll have something for me. In not too long.
On that Khabib Gaethje card, interest you being on the undercard for that?
Definitely. I mean, like I said, if I was going to go to Fight Island, it would have to be for I think it would tempt me in more if it was a big card like that with someone like Khabib and Gaethje. Two massive names, two of my favorite fighters. So I suppose they could coax me into to fight on the undercard day, but it'd be great to go to Vegas as well. So, but obviously Khabib is going to fight out in Abu Dhabi or Dubai from what I'm seeing. So, if they want a strapping young Welshman on the undercard of that, I'll happily oblige.
Brilliant. Well, Tank, all the best, buddy. We do appreciate you coming on again, and we look forward to seeing you getting there again. We'll probably do another one of these before you get on there anyway. But thanks for the time, buddy, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Sure, have a good one, lads. See you later.
Cheers, Tank.
He's off.
There we go. He's off.
Hello.
So. And then there was Oban, Elliott. What's it like, obviously, being in these conversations? We've done a few interviews now over the last couple of years, but seeing these guys in the gym ahead of you now really starting to get on. I mean, it must be pretty good for your inspiration and and what you're aiming for, really.
And well, it's brilliant, and bless them, they do these interviews and they always mention me. They've done so many and said, "Oh, the next best thing, Oban, Elliott, blah blah blah." So I can't not get to the UFC now with what the boys have said about me. So it's brilliant. I'm honoured to train. And it wouldn't be the same if we didn't get on as mates. But I'm just honoured to train with them. They're like my best mates.
Yeah, no, fair play. And but like I said, we've got a lot of good Welsh fighters now, not just in short mixed martial arts. Obviously, we've got Corey McKenna, got the contenders. We've got Liu Long and Ben Ellis. There's a lot of guys coming through. Obviously, a guy you might want to speak a little bit about because he's in your division is Mason Jones. He's fighting. He's obviously won the lightweight belt last time out. He's going to be fighting for his second belt in the Cage Warriors division now on that trilogy weekend or trilogy week, I should say. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Mason at the moment and the challenge he's got coming up with Adam Proctor at the welterweight division?
I think, I think a lot of Mason. I think he's a great fighter. He got that opportunity in March to fight for the belt. He took it with both hands and he performed. There's one thing to say about given whatever fights, you've always got to get in there and you've always got to win. And Mason's done nothing but win so far. So I can't say nothing but good things about him. There's a bit of there. I don't think there's any there's absolutely no ill will at all from me towards Mason. He's just. I didn't even know how all that started, really. But it's just, if I ever, I've given him a bit of banter. I think when he won the belt, I said, like a Brock Lesnar line, like, "I'm coming for you," or something like that. And I think
it's a lot of it. Oh, can I ask? It's a lot of it, like the fans, because he's got a big following.
Yeah, and
you've got a big following as well. Is it kind of more of a fan driven?
Yeah, so it's just fan. It's the fans. I think it started off because a lot of the boys big group of boys come to watch me fight, and they said, who's this in the main event? You know, Oban's being the co-main event or something. No, Oban's being the main event. And then there was just a bit of back and forth, like, oh, no, Mason's better than Oban, no, Oban's better than Mason. And it happened like that, you know, and there's nothing, you know, I haven't got that small town mentality. I don't need to go and prove I'm tougher than the guy next door. I want to go and prove I'm tougher than everyone in the world. So I don't need to. I wish Mason all the best. I'm happy for him in what he's doing. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, no, it's good, and I think, you know, like people say, you know, we've got Brett Johns, Jack Shaw, all these guys talking about you, Jack Marshmans as well,
Yeah.
and it is clear you are on that path, and I think it's great. We've got so many Welsh guys this sort of coming up, and I mean, like you said last time out, you know, 2-0 you were, and then you stepped up and fought on the co-main event. I mean, what was that like? Looking back, what was that like at the Ice Arena to do that in your third fight?
It was a lot. It was a big deal for me then. It was, you know, I was still raw. I'd say I was a raw talent at that time, athletic. There weren't much finesse about my game at that point, but I still felt I could take the world on. I still feel I could beat Khabib up then. You know, in my head, but I just think back then it was a huge deal for me. But I think coming into the 2020, we've had the big layoff. I've had a lot of time to reflect, and I think, you know, I don't think I'll ever be. I wouldn't. I thought that was a big deal for me. I was excited by the fact it's a co-main event for me. But what I've taken from this time off is a fight to fight. It doesn't matter if everybody's watching. It doesn't matter if there's not going to be a crowd there. I don't care if I'm the first one on. A fight to fight. It was a big deal then, but I'm a 22-year-old. I felt like I was 21. I was still like a boy. You're still a young raw talent. But it's only 11 months have gone past, 10 months have gone past, but I feel like maturity, my skill level has just gone triple, quadruple fold compared to then.
And you were training, you did a little bit of sparring up in Birmingham with Jai Herbert as well, obviously. Jai fought out on the island. He took a loss, but he fought very well, even though he lost. I mean, what was that experience like training with him, and what did you learn up there with Jai?
Yeah, I had some great sparring, and big shout out to Jai for welcoming me into his gym. He treated me like he knew me a couple of years, and he was my friend. There was no ego, and he just got signed to the UFC, and I think we got in the cage to spar, and he was like, oh, it's Cage Warriors title fight in his voice, and all of his corner were there, and I think he thought a lot of me in the sense I turned up with my kit bag on my own, just walked into a gym full of killers up there that I never met before, and I just brought my gloves, my gum shield, my shin guards, and turned up and. Shook everyone's hand when I got there. I shook everyone's arm when I left, and I gave him good, honest rounds, and we had some really good rounds, me and Jai, and I can't wait to train with him again. And he was really unlucky in his last fight. No one deserved that more than him. He's a working class man with a family now, and I was hoping to God he would win that fight. And shit happens in life, and I think he's probably dealt with worse, and I know it won't stop him, and I know he'll come back 10 times stronger. I believe, judging on the character of him, like.
Yeah, no, it was I had him winning that fight right until that one shot. So I did think it was a bit of a late stoppage. He took a couple of extra shots there, but at the same time,
if you're gonna go down, you're gonna go down like a gangster, aren't you? You're gonna go down. If I ever get knocked out, I want to be dead, completely out cold on the floor. I don't want to be given. I want to be waking up where I go, whoa, what happened? It's sort of thing, If I don't think Jai's got many complaints. I think Dan Hardy was looking after him. Herb, thought he saw Jai in a good spot, and it is what it is,
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to see. It's hard, isn't it? Because fight to safety is paramount. But it's one of them, there's fractions in it,
Very, very fine lines with these decisions, and for me, I always kind of tend to go with the refs. I know it's hard, but it's such a hard job. So I always give the benefit of the doubt to the ref if I can, and that's the way.
And he
goes.
was winning the fight. Herb was probably watching the fight, going, Jai's pinging his head off. He's got it. There's a shot here. Oh, Is he all right? Is he all right? Is he all right? Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, he is out. You know, it was one of them. If that Francisco was putting it on him and then he landed a big shot and dropped it, it would have been stopped there and then. But because he was up on the cards, he was way ahead in terms of the momentum of the fight. I think Herb just judged it as he saw it. I don't think it was that bad at all.
Yeah. We got a question coming in, and this is kind of on the back. Obviously, you've got Corey McKenna now, the first Welsh female to get into the UFC. So big shout out to Corey McKenna for that win last weekend, a dominant performance. Really, really good win, 3-round decision. She's now the first female to sign for the UFC. On the back of that, Henry Say is asking, Oban, have you thought about fighting on Dana White's Contender Series? Is
I
that
have.
something you do?
I think Shaky's tried being in touch to get me on there. It would suit me because my record doesn't suggest my level, and I think if I went on there, it's a one night, one shot kind of thing, and it would open everyone. Boom, in the UFC, no messing about, and I would 100% do it if I got the opportunity. I'd win it in an heartbeat. Don't get me wrong. I think Cage Warriors is amazing, and I'm not in any rush whatsoever to get to the UFC, but at the same time, I think I'm good enough and I'm brave enough to do it. So
yeah, so it's kind of a juggling act because you get, on one hand, you get sort of that chance to headline Cage Warrior shows on BT Sports to get those belts, and like Mason is now having 2 belts potentially.
Yeah.
Or you make the jump straight away and go try and do that in the UFC starting off younger. I mean, guys have joined young and gone all the way. Like Max Holloway was a guy who signed, I think, at 2021. So guys do it.
And John Jones was a guy who signed young, and I always wanted to be one of them guys that signed young because I've been training all my life, and I've not had any other aspirations other than being a UFC champion of the world. I didn't think, I'm going to get this. I've got to make sure I get to that stage first and get to that stage first. If you threw me in there with Khabib Nurmagomedov tomorrow, I take the fight 100%. And, it might seem funny, but anyone who knows me and all my coaches know that I literally would take that fight 100%, and I believe I could win that fight.
Yeah.
So
it's good you've got that sort of confidence, Oban.
It's confidence, but I'm not under any delusions or anything like that. I just, I've got one goal, and that's to be the best in the world. And when Mason won the belt, and people go, he's calling this out, he's calling that. What am I going to do? Call someone out beneath me? What am I going to do? Am I going to look down and say, yeah, I'll have that one because I think I could beat him, or I could have that one, I think I could beat him, and I'm going to look ahead. When I was in year 7, I was picking fights with the year 11s. So it's no different now, is it? Come on.
That doesn't surprise me at all, Oban. I got to be honest.
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me. But before Khabib, I do honestly think that these things are in the future for you. The way you apply yourself, I definitely think that's in the future for you. But right now, you've got.
I wanted to say is when we were talking about the gym earlier, there's not going to be any luck involved. I'm in an atmosphere where my coaches will tell me if I've done something shit, they'll say, "Oban, that was shit." If I'm doing something well, I'll say, "Yeah, you done well tonight." But I'm never ahead of myself. I'm never thinking. I'm not training with boys that I get easy subs on, land easy punches on. It's like a 4-on-1 scenario when I'm training him. You should have seen my fight camp rounds last night. I've got a fresh killer on me who fights in the UFC from every angle. It's like a 4-on-1 scenario every time, when they're trying to beat the shit out of me in the gym. The boys are they're trying to completely and utterly gas me out. They're trying to see what I'm made of, and I've got the coaches in my corner that are going to make sure I get there, because I trust them, they trust me. They're serious about what they do. I'm serious about what I do, and it's not going to be an accident when I keep climbing these ranks, because I put myself in the spots. I don't avoid the rounds. I go up to Birmingham to spar the best lightweight in Europe, and I still think he is the best lightweight in Europe, Jai Herbert. I went up there myself. He got signed to the UFC. I wanted to see how good he was. I wanted to see how good I was. I go up there. I don't go, I talk shit online and say, yeah, I could do this, I could do that. I'm going to find out myself. I'd spar Mason tomorrow and see how good I am there. I've trained with Lou Long. I want to see how good I was there. One of the best welterweights in Europe. Top 5, in UFC included, in Europe. So it's not going to be any. There's no bullshit along the way, and it's a bit like my next opponent now. I fought every single time they've offered me a fight. I haven't turned a fight down. I was meant to fight my opponent's brother for the academy belt a couple of years ago, but he turned it down. I fought Josh Hudson instead. I haven't turned a fight down. Every time I'm meant to fight, I'm there, I fight. I take the hard fights. I've never gone, oh, give me a bum. Or let me have 2 years off. I'll go knit pads with the boys. Then let me fight a bum after a 2-year layoff. Ever. And I'll never do that. The proof's in the pudding. It'll all come out in the wash. You'll see in September the difference between me and bums like I'm fighting on the 24th.
There you go. Well, I was going to say, because we've got a comment coming in from Chris Garden, and he prefaced this by saying, no disrespect here, but Figlak's a pucker boxer. He's a proper wrestler coming from the gym he does. What have you got, Oban? He's asking. What have you got compared to Figlak there?
Balls.
There we go. I think that's just the walk-off knockout with our answer there, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. And what's your prediction for this fight? We've had a couple of people dropping comments as well. Oban Elliott versus Michael Figlak. I think it's Cage Warriors 114. I think this one is.
Yeah.
What's your prediction on this fight?
I think we're gonna, that cage door lot. He'll look across at me, whatever he thinks, whatever he might think he's gonna do. He'll look across at me, and there won't be anyone in attendance. It'll just be me and him. You're gonna wear every slap, every punch, every kick. You're gonna wear each other's corners. He's gonna realize what he's up against. I won't have to do much. He'll bottle it.
How familiar are you with Michael, Oban?
Familiar enough.
Yeah, fair play. And we've got another question again from Chris, who's asking, will you shake hands with him at the weigh-ins?
I'll shake his hand. I ain't scared to shake someone's hand. I'm a man. I don't need to clench my fist and me my eyebrows out and try and look tough. I'll shake his hand. I'll shake his hand after as well.
Yeah, so
Don't bother me.
Yeah, still got that love the pain story there, Oban. I still love that story that you told. I think that was the first time we spoke back when you were like a 3-0 amateur.
I remember that.
Love the pain. You still got that kind of attitude, which I think is very still quite refreshing to see you moving forward with that.
I'm not under any illusions at any given time. I think my mindset's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I'm surrounded by the best people I could possibly be surrounded with. So it's I'm a product of my surroundings, and it'll show on the night. It'll show in my career, and yeah, I can't say much more on that.
And a little BBC appearance since the last time we spoke as well. I think we did do it. So for people watching who don't know, I actually interviewed Oban. You were supposed to fight back on Cage Warriors in Ebervale, and we did a pile of interviews. I interviewed Jack Shaw, Jack Marshburn. They were going to be fighting on UFC London. It was a whole thing we did, and obviously COVID came along and it all got cancelled. And just before that, you'd been sort of followed around by a crew of BBC reporters and videographers, and you had your own little kind of documentary. What was that like?
That was nice. It was a lot shorter than we were filming it for God knows how long, but it was nice, and it was a nice tribute to my dad as well. I think the whole thing being put on the BBC, if only he could see it now, and it details my story and what I've travelled here, there, I've been around, and how everything's come full circle, and I'm on this path now. It was really nice, I was crying my eyes out watching it, and I watched it once or twice. I couldn't watch it again. I couldn't listen. I like the sound of my own voice, but not that much. At
least you're honest.
It was really nice, and I feel like it made my family and my friends proud, and my teammates.
Yeah, is that still available for people to watch on iPlayer? I would assume
on iPlayer. Yeah, it was up for the year. So when was that? When was that released? February time. It's up there for another few months, yeah. Because people still send me screenshots of it. Now I'm skimming on iPlayer, this pops up. So it's still cool, yeah. It's cool, yeah. For like people I went to uni with, sending pictures like, what are you doing on my TV and stuff. It's cool, yeah. It's nice.
Are you working full time? Are you training full time now, or do you sort of work in between until?
I just work when I can, and thank God I got sponsors that help me out now and then. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep my head above the water. It's been a tough time with the coronavirus, but yeah, I'm just doing what I can. I give it all that on Instagram, saying I train 1 day a week and stuff like that. That may or may not be true.
Take from that what you will then.
Yeah.
Oh, you've like you said it yourself, you've got a lot of people behind you, a lot of fans, a lot of friends, a lot of sponsors. Anyone you want to give a shout out before we round this one off tonight?
Just everybody, my sponsors. You're dealing with a man on a weight cut. I'm not gonna go naming anyone because I'll end up forgetting someone along the way, and someone will be sitting there waiting for me to say them, and I'll forget. But just everyone who supports me, my brilliant sponsors, and my friends and my family and my teammates, and everyone who believes in me and who's always believed in me, because I've had people along the way say I'm no good. They've laughed at me. They've said I'm wasting my time. They said, you're not what you think you are. You're not this. You're not that. I've had all people along the way say these things to me and about me, and I'm still here. I'm still putting it on the line, and for my next fight and for all the fights in the future, that it's just I'm gonna make sure I get these results to pay back your support and love you've shown me.
Brilliant. Hello, man. Always great to catch up to you, buddy. It's been a while. We want
Yeah,
have to make sure
been a while.
Make sure we don't leave it this long next time.
No,
We'll
I
we'll try and get a
can't
couple.
remember the last time we did one. It was probably a year ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I came down to the gym and interviewed you.
Yeah, but that was it.
But that obviously all got sort of thrown to the wind, and since then we've had nothing. So
yeah,
but
well, it's nice to catch up, Blue.
Yeah, Oban, all the best for the
I remember I had the first interviews we had. I was there, my hands were soaking wet with sweat. I was like, oh shit, I got an interview. Nice to catch up. Nice one, Lou.
I think the first interview we did was before you fought Josh Hudson.
Yeah.
I can't remember the fight it was for, but I remember I saw you fight down in Newport as an amateur.
Yeah.
I think you might be on a car where there's like loads of snow.
Yeah. I was a raw, angry little 19-year-old or 20 or whatever I was, just desperate to win. I remember before I punching the walls before I went out and that.
Yeah, but no, I remember seeing that fight, and I messaged you quite short after, and we spoke, and obviously shot ball. That's the one. It's gone from strength to strength there, and like I said, hopefully it keeps going well for you. And like I said, we do see you in those big fights coming up.
Yeah, well, hey, there's no bigger fight than me on the Cage Warriors trilogy. So that is the big fight. I've got a challenge in Figlac. God bless him. I hope he has a brilliant training camp with his team. There is no bigger fight than me on that night, on that Thursday night. And, I would say the entire 3 days, but there is some big fights. There's some champ fights going on. We've got Mason Jones versus Adam Proctor on the card on the trilogy. We've got Frederick just got announced against Jamie Richardson.
Big fight, by the way.
We've got big fights on the card, but the biggest fight is me.
There we go. Oban, Elliott, thank you, buddy. And I'll speak to you again soon, okay?
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Salut.